In this session, we will learn about reconciling a GL account with a printed or online bank statement. Bank statement reconciliation is accomplished by selecting Bank Statement Reconciliation from the General Ledger main menu. In the list box, you will see a list of your GL accounts that have been flagged as either a checking account or a credit card account in the Account Entry window. We will be reconciling our cash-in-bank operating account. At the top of the screen, the system will list the current balance for this account, the next check number that will be printed from this account, and the amount and date of the last deposit to this account. Here we can enter a cutoff date. Now, many times you will receive a statement that includes all the transactions up to and including a certain day of the month. If you are not doing the reconciling until sometime after this cutoff date, you might want to set your cutoff date to equal the last day of the statement period, so you don't have to wade through a number of transactions which you know could not have cleared the bank by the statement ending date. So we can set this cutoff date to whatever we please. If you have downloaded a list of cleared transactions from your bank's website, the system can automatically match the transactions in the statement file with transactions stored in your general ledger. If you'd like the program to do this, check this box. We can click this button to print out a check register. It will bring up, as you can see, the same check register printing program that can be accessed from the General Ledger main menu. After we have optionally printed our check register, we can continue with the reconciliation process by clicking the Next button. If we've selected the Automated Bank Reconciliation, this window will appear. There are a couple of guidelines which must always be followed when retrieving information from a bank website. First, when selecting the format for your text file, select either the QuickBooks or Microsoft Money format. Second, although you may select a beginning date, never select any ending date other than today's date. This last bit is crucial. If you select a date other than today's date, the accounting program will not be able to correctly calculate an ending balance as of the period you wish to reconcile. For example, if today is July 13th, and you wish to download a file to be used to reconcile all of June's transactions, set the range to be June 1st through today, July 13th. Here we can specify the file name of the file we downloaded from the bank. When we select the bank file name, the transactions in the bank file will be displayed on the screen. We can now adjust the ending date here so the window includes only the range of dates we wish to reconcile. When we click the Next button, the program will automatically match up the bank transactions with our own transactions and place check marks on the cleared transactions. If there are any bank transactions for which the program cannot find a match in our records, this window will pop up, showing these missing transactions. There are two possibilities with these transactions. The first is that we simply have not posted the check, deposit, or bank charge to our general ledger. If this is the case, we place a check mark on the appropriate transactions, fill out these fields, and click the Create button. The program will now create a general ledger transaction batch for these items, which we post before returning to complete the reconciliation. The second possibility is that these transactions are reflected in our general ledger, but the system cannot match them automatically. For example, there may be two offsetting transactions. We can tag both of them to be cleared by hand. There may be two or more transactions whose additive total is reflected in one of our general ledger transactions. We can tag them and then mark the appropriate general ledger transaction by hand. Last, there may be a check where we mistyped the check number when we posted it in our accounting software. We can tag it here and mark the general ledger transaction by hand also. Once the list of missing transactions has been dealt with, we can continue the reconciliation process. Of course, if we did not indicate earlier that we would be automatically reconciling with a bank file, this will be the first window we see to begin our reconciliation. In this step of the reconciliation process, we look at our bank statement and mark all the transactions that have cleared the bank. We have the ability to wander through this box, looking at all the checks and deposits. At the top of the list, it shows all the deposits, and then a little further down, all the checks which our system indicates have not yet cleared the bank. We can place a check mark in this box by clicking the Mark Unmark button. This will reverse the check mark in the box. Other ways to mark a transaction include clicking once in this column, double-clicking anywhere on the desired row, or highlighting the desired record and pressing the space bar on the keyboard. If we press the space bar, not only is the item checked, but the highlight automatically moves down one row, allowing us to repeatedly press the space bar to tag many items quickly. There are also a couple of methods of marking a range of items at once. First, we can click this button and enter a range of check numbers. The system will mark all the check numbers in this range. Or we can simply highlight the first item in the range and then hold down the Shift key on the keyboard while clicking on the last item in the range. All the items in the range will be marked. We also have some convenience options above the list box. We have a field that will search for a given transaction by check number, date, amount, description, fiscal period, or record number. First, select which type of data you'll be searching for. Then type the search criterion in this box and press the Tab or Enter key. The system will jump to the first instance where it finds your search criterion. If you're searching for a check number, there will probably be only one instance of that check number in the list. If you're searching for a date, however, there may be many transactions that share that date. After the system has found the first item with your desired date, press the F3 key on the keyboard to search for the next transaction with your desired date. You can repeat this over and over to find all the transactions with your desired date. We can also click the Jump to First Check button, and the system will jump to the first check, or Jump to First Deposit button, which will jump to the very top of the list and show the first deposit. These other buttons are also for convenience. We can press the Mark All button, which will mark all the transactions as cleared, or the Unmark All button, which will unmark all marked transactions. We can click this button to see more details about the highlighted transaction. You may notice that as we mark and unmark transactions, the system keeps track of the totals in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Once we have marked all the transactions we see on the bank statement, we can continue with the next step in the reconciliation process. In this step, we will enter in by hand information from our bank statement. This information includes the statement ending date, the statement beginning and ending balances, and the total amounts of checks, deposits, and bank charges. The totals at the bottom of these two columns must match, or you've entered the information wrong from your statement, or your statement was printed wrong by the bank, because these numbers must match. They also should match with the amounts that you've tagged in the previous screen. Once we've entered all our bank statement totals, we click the Next button, and the system will display for us a quick total of all the computer information, the bank statement information, and the difference between the two. In the first column, we see the computer balance as of the beginning of this period, the total amount of all the checks we have marked, and the total amount of all deposits and other transactions we've marked. these figures will be compared against the figures we've typed in from the statement. The differences should all be zero. There may be occasions where something is showing up as a check in the accounting system that the bank considers to be a deposit or other transaction. If this is the case, the middle two figures in this column will not be zero, but they will be equal to each other. Then the bottom right-hand total will be zero, and this is what is important. Once these figures match, and the difference columns equal zero, click the Next button to continue with the reconciliation. This step shows us a list of all transactions which the computer shows have not yet cleared the bank. Click the Print Listing button to print out a listing of these transactions. We then click the Next button, and we finish our reconciliation by looking at the outstanding transaction analysis. The system will display our computer statement ending balance, adding outstanding deposits, subtracting outstanding checks, and coming up with the dollar amount that our computer balance should be, and the actual computer balance. When these two figures match, we can finish our reconciliation. Click the Finish button, and all the transactions we have marked in this session will be permanently set to a cleared status. The system will then be ready for next month's reconciliation process. This ends this training session on bank statement reconciliation.